My husband has been helping me work the garden this year. Pepper plants, tomatoes, the bush tomatoes. On this wall we have the climbing tomatoes. We love the idea of producing our own food that we know is safe. There will be pole beans here. We just purchased half a pig. Our friends purchased the other half. We had to pick the pig up and take him to the slaughterhouse and tell them how we wanted the pig to be processed. So we're waiting on that meat, and we know that this food is GMO free, and they do not vaccinate the pigs with mRNA technology, which is one thing that they're starting to do with the meat that is purchased, that you get at the grocery store. You don't know what's in your meat. Yeah, that should be concerning to us all. Next, we want to get a cow from a local farmer so that we can be assured that we have healthy meat that doesn't have any garbage in it that's going to harm our health. Besides the health benefit of eating healthy foods that you know is organically grown and safe, we have to learn these skills to ensure that we have good health. We're making progress on the corn. Still got more to do.
Potato bugs. Who wants to pick smushy potato bugs? Yuck. Yuck.
Bees.
I have to get more butter to make it.
Yeah, I see all kind of bees.
We should set our bee box in the garden.
Yeah, we like having bees in the garden because they help pollinate.
There's so many bees in the garden if we set a bee box. And she likes the bad bugs, though. They like bad bugs.
She lays the bad bugs?
Yeah. And then the butterflies do, and then the ladybugs come and eat them all up.
Oh, you know so much about bugs in the garden. So far from our garden, we have enjoyed zucchini and yellow squash. I have fermented bell peppers, and we have enjoyed fresh salads. And we have corn on the cob in the freezer. Besides eating healthier, it's great to be working in a garden, getting out in the sun, getting out of the house, getting off the computer, and just working in the ground, connecting with the earth and getting vitamin D. We're sharing the garden space with our close friends. Her children also help in the garden, getting exercise, getting fresh air. It's good for you in many ways. I threw down some grits and the ants are going for it, because they're all over the garden. You know what? I see more ants now since we put that out. The word is out. There's food to be had. Come and get it. And today we are building a fence around to try to deter the deer from eating up the corn. We're hoping this works. First tomatoes. The first little peppers are growing. a little bit of pruning on the tomato plants. This is a better bush variety. It makes a very sturdy, well condensed, and kind of it creates its own shade. Very nice. It's called Better Bush. What kind of, are these potato bugs? Uh-oh. Yeah, that looks like a whole bunch of potato bugs. Potato bugs. See how they chewed up the leaf? They're eating and destroying the plant. Red bug appears to be eating the potato bug. Let him do his job, because we got too many potato bugs here. Drown them in water. Alright. Wow, look how much the cucumber has grown in one day. And it's beginning to climb on our little makeshift cages, which were actually the beginnings of a rabbit. Okay, so we have this barrier, kinda, sorta. We're building this fence right here around the corn, and we've decided, how about we put the sweet potato on the inside, and it can, because it's a vine, it'll grow up the wire. Yeah, some of the leaves will stick out, but we'll have the main part of the plant down here, so the deer won't be able to get that. And yeah, the vines will grow up and it'll kind of create a wall, and the leaves on the outside the deer will eat. But hopefully they don't pull it out of the ground. I don't know. We don't know what we're doing. Everything we're doing is a learning experience. We weren't allowed to cut this, so this is kind of a barrier. So it just kind of blocks the pathway here. So hopefully, unless a deer jumps, which they technically could jump right here. The deer have not come in this area at all. So maybe with all of the structure, it kind of prevents them or deters them. So we're thinking more structure. Here we have a path that's kind of square. So this little triangle, we're going to clean this out, and we're going to plant some peppers here, and we'll put sort of an L-shaped fence right along here, and maybe that'll be just one more structure to keep the deer away from this area. We're going to plant a second row of corn about 6 inches away from the row, so that we can still have lanes to get in there to weed and tend it. So we'll see how that goes. We have another issue with moles, so we're going to try to put something in the ground outside of the fence to maybe stop the moles from coming into the corn and eating the corn from the ground. That is good, but you see that there's a scarcity of plants over here, and that's because some moles came in here and ate up the young plant from the ground. Now, we did have a problem with ants. We fed them yesterday. They've taken the bait. I don't know how well that's going to work. I still see ant activity, but not as much ant activity. They're taking the food to their nest. So we're going to try to deal with the ants and the moles and the deer. That is our challenge. We need to do a little pruning in here and take out some excess leaves so that it's easier for the bees to pollinate. And also just a little airflow and air circulation, so we have less problem with mold on the squash and zucchini. Squash are looking good. Some zucchini growing here. And the stink bug laid its eggs on the squash plant. These are our pole beans, and we had a problem with this row right here because it's open. The deer chewed away pretty much all of these down. Now they're trying to grow back, so we're thinking that if we build a short little fence close by, and we have some more tomato plants that need to go down, The deer have stayed away from the tomato plants, maybe because they don't like the smell. Tomato plants do have a very strong smell. So we're going to try to plant a row of tomatoes here and put a fence, and maybe that will deter the deer. I don't know. We're learning. Hey, you got a carrot. Look at that. That's a good size one. Not too bad. You like to eat carrots?
Yes.
This tarp over here. Well, I was finishing up weeding up because it's getting really hot and the kids are turning it into a play place. They are making mud ice cream cones. They have them in the shade so they won't melt. How funny. I love to watch children play.
I see a blue hole.
A hole? Wonder if it's a mole hole. We're gonna plant watermelon there. You're digging it up for us.
There's another worm.
Ants are not a worm. Nope, they're not.
Here's my what? They look like right here.
Where those 3 poles are. Wow, so much growth. Tomato plants are just going crazy. And there's a bunch of tomatoes here. Getting pretty tall. I need to do some work. Girl, sunflowers have grown. We've already harvested a lot of cucumbers, and I made some pickles, and so did Julia. Corn is growing. Yeah, beans.
Beans in a pot.
Yeah, those beans that the deers haven't got. Oh, this basket's heavy. Oh, wow. And there's so many more tomatoes to be had.
Yep. Many, many, many more.
We've got tomatoes galore. Oh my word, there's so many tomatoes in here. This is the cherry tomato bush, and it is loaded. I started a small blackberry patch over here this year. I don't expect to get anything from it this year, but we'll see how it goes. Our blueberry patch is young, no blueberries from it this year, and I didn't expect it, but the place where we got the blueberry bushes, we were able to pick from their bush, which they have a huge bush. So we have planted 5 different patches of blueberries on our property. We have lots of blueberries and strawberries in the freezer, and we continue to get strawberries. We're still waiting on the pears to ripen so I can can them. And we're waiting on the grapes to ripen to make more wonderful jam. The grapevines in our backyard have spread. We have so many more vines. Last year I made grape jam. It was awesome. Best grape jam I ever had. So I'm looking forward to a bigger harvest this year. So I guess we at our home, we have a fruit farm. At a friend's house, they have a vegetable farm. And we both raise chickens. You have followers. Been raising chickens since 2010. The hens give us fresh eggs daily. But we're always trying to expand the flock. Mama with her baby chicks. They're growing. We got wing feathers. Some of them have tail feathers. Baby peeking through the door. We have the mama and the babies in a partitioned off part of the coop. And so they have their own roost, they have their feed and water in here, and their own outside pen that they only can access until they get big enough to be merged with the rest of the flock. These young chicks are not yet at a laying, but they should be early fall. We'll have some new egg layers. These 4 ones kind of hang together because they're from the same batch that was hatched. And one turned out to be a rooster. We'll have to see how that goes, having a second rooster. If it's a problem, we'll have to get rid of one of the roosters. This here is what I call the killing comb. I put the chicken in here when I cut off its head so that I can process it, and that might have to happen with the second rooster if the roosters don't get along, because it's much better with a small flock to just have one rooster. And hey, he becomes meat for the table, and it's a awful job. It's unpleasant. I don't like doing it, but it is one of those necessary skills that I purpose to learn so that I could do it, and I know how to do it to provide meat for my table when necessary, and to keep a healthy, happy chicken flock. We need to learn to be self-sufficient, and we need to learn to produce our own food for the betterment of our health. Wow, that's a big one. At the size of this tomato. Wow, it's a handful. And there's another one. Wow. Tomatoes are so big. It's hot out here. Plants look like this. And you have a lot of chewed off ends. It's probably an indication that you have a tomato hornworm. And the plant next to it, a caterpillar. Well, it's called a hornworm. And the plant next to it's got some stress on it. And a sure sign is to look at the base, the ground, and look for these little droppings. They're little green, almost look like grenades. They start off green, but as they sit, they turn brown. And so I see a lot of droppings. And these are dark green, so they're fairly fresh. They'll start off bright green and then they'll turn to a brown. So then you have to look. So I've been cleaning out this plant, taking off some branches, and he's very hard to spot because he looks like a leaf. Here he is. There's the tomato hornworm. See, look at him. He's got ribs that look like... He will eat this plant down in one day. So we need to dispose of him. He is kind of pretty.
Green and white.
A little bit creepy, but yeah. See how he's disguised? Yeah, he's usually on the underside. Okay, feed him to the chickens. I am hot, smelly, and dirty, and barefoot. But you know what? Hey, this is great. This is great to be in the dirt. Oh, I see a mole. I see a crack running right along there. There's a mole has come into the garden. mole trail. I don't know, he may have stopped. See that crack? There's a mole path. All kinds of creatures visit the garden. How big this stalk of this tomato plant is. Oh, we have so much growth. There's so many tomatoes. What creature are you? You look like a potato bug. It's kind of shaped like a ladybug, but in brown colors. I think it's a potato bug, but he's just on a weed. Actually, cooler sitting down on the ground than it is standing up. I don't know why. Well, there's some cloud cover. Oh dear, I just realized there's tall grass on the other side of this wire fence. That'd be a great place for snakes, and we have seen a lot of snakes lately crossing the road. This thought of a snake climbing out of that grass and attacking me is frightening. I think I'm going to move. Another plant that's showing signs of chewed off branches. So there's possibility another tomato hornworm in this tomato bush. So I'm going to examine the base of it, see if I see any poops. Oh, look at this. Look at these little tomatoes in a row. Isn't that cool? The little ones. Those are not tomatoes. That is growing from that thorny vine. This thorny vine is trying to grow fruit. Huh. What is that? They kind of look like mini watermelons, 4 in a row. I pulled up many of those thorny vines, or plants, or whatever they are. They seem to like to grow around the tomatoes. They're trying to pretend to be a tomato plant. That weed. And look, it's got some things like little fruits on it. I have no idea what plant that is. Do we see any poops? So far, I'm not seeing any little grenade poops. Maybe that worm moved on, but I'm going to examine the plant anyways and see if we can't find another worm to feed to the chickens. Our little sea of tomatoes. See, it's the shape of a C. C for Carmona. Homegrown tomatoes have so much more flavor than store-bought ones.